Okay, so there you are at a networking event and someone asks the question that overwhelms you every time. So what do you do? Yep, that question. What do you do? And suddenly the person who holds profound space for transformation, the person who guides people through their deepest healing, you sound like you have no idea what you do. You sound confused. You sound unprofessional. Words tumble out. You start over-explaining using terms that nobody understands, and you watch as the person who asked you, their eyes start to glaze over because you're desperately trying to capture even a fraction of the magic that you can create in your sessions. And in that moment, you feel it. It's that sinking realization that you are invisible. Not because your work isn't powerful, not because you're not good enough, but because you're making invisible messaging mistakes that nobody ever taught you how to avoid. And here's the thing that kills me. You have spent years developing your expertise. You are good at your craft. You've invested tens of thousands in certifications, trainings, personal development, workshops. You transform lives in your sessions. But the moment that you try to communicate that value to the world, it's like all of that wisdom gets stuck in your throat. You get choked up, you get confused, you get overwhelmed, and you sound unprofessional. I know exactly how this feels because I have been there. I used to dread that question. What do you do? I've spent the last decade helping everyone from professional athletes to trauma-informed coaches and plant medicine facilitators solve this exact problem. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Adam Roa. I am an artist, a poet, a coach, a keynote speaker, and an entrepreneur. And you can probably see how it might have been hard for me to simplify that over time. And yet I've still managed to help practitioners translate their depth into words that actually move people. And when I learned how to do that, I was able to build a following of more than 600,000. I have reached over 250 million people with messages that matter. But more importantly, I've watched what happens when someone finally cracks the code on their messaging. I'm going to tell you about one of my clients, Eric, a brilliant practitioner, deep work, breath work, so many things, medicine work. And he had never signed a high ticket client because every time that he tried to explain his value, he sounded like he was reading from a textbook. We fixed 3 specific things in his messaging, just three. And on his next discovery call, he signed his first ever high ticket client, a big high ticket client. And a few months later, that client flew him on his private jet. Eric got to fly private for the very first time, not because he suddenly became better at his craft. He was already brilliant at that, but because he finally learned how to translate that brilliance into language that actually lands. And today, I'm going to show you how to correct those exact 3 mistakes that keep practitioners invisible. And more importantly, I'm going to make it very simple so you can apply it today. So before we dive in, I need you to understand something really crucial, okay? These messaging mistakes, they're not character flaws. They're not signs that you're bad at your business. They're simply skills that nobody taught you. And that's really important because sometimes when we struggle to translate what we do and we can see that it doesn't land, it can cause us to actually question our confidence in the skills that we've developed, in the craft that we've worked on, in our ability to transform lives. I don't want you to question your ability to create impact. If you've worked hard to get to the place where you know that you're good, then I want you to keep that confidence and just learn these new skills. I mean, you probably went to school to master your modality. You learned techniques, you learned frameworks, you learned healing protocols, but did anyone actually teach you how to translate soul level transformation into a 30-second explanation that makes sense to a stranger? Of course not. So you do what every practitioner does. You make these same 3 mistakes and they keep you invisible no matter how powerful your work actually is. Okay, so mistake number 1 is the over-explaining trap. It's a big one. Almost everyone does this at some point, and it comes from a deep space of insecurity. You are standing there trying to explain your work, and this voice in your head says, they don't get it. You got to say more. You got to give more context. You should explain the modality more. Tell them about the certifications. Mention the neuroscience. Talk about the energy work too. Describe the whole process. And so you do. You give them everything. The chakra system, the trauma-informed approach, the somatic integration, the nervous system regulation. Then you want to mention also the energetics, right? The ancestral healing component and the quantum physics of how it actually works. All of it. And you know what happens? Their brain literally shuts off. Not because they're not smart enough, not because you're not smart enough, but because you've created cognitive overload. You see, here's what nobody tells you about communication. The human brain can only process about 7 pieces of information at once. That's it. 7. But when you are over explaining, you're hitting them with 47 different concepts in 90 seconds. It's like trying to drink out of a fire hose. It's too much. And why do we do this? Because deep down, we believe that more information equals more credibility. We think that if we can just explain it enough, they'll finally understand the value. But here's the painful truth about it. Over-explaining doesn't create credibility. It actually destroys it. Because confidence is concise. Mastery is when masters can explain complex things simply. It's the amateur who actually needs 17 paragraphs to make one point. So how do you fix it? You can practice something that I call the 1 breath rule. If you cannot explain what you do in 1 breath, 1 normal breath, not some like deep Wim Hof yoga competition breath. If you can't explain it in 1 normal breath, it's too complicated. So here's an example of what it looks like, okay? Instead of, I'm a trauma-informed somatic experiencing practitioner who works with nervous system using a blend of ancient wisdom traditions and then cutting-edge neuroscience to help people release stored trauma through body-based healing modalities that combine ancient wisdom with modern techniques. That's a mouthful, yeah. You say, I help people release old trauma that's stuck in their body so they can finally feel free. 1 breath, clear outcome, no jargon. Okay, but you might be thinking that oversimplifies your work. Does it? Or does it actually just create an opening for someone who's interested to lean in and ask, well, how do you do that? Tell me more. And which would you rather have? Someone whose eyes are glazing over while you're explaining your 17-step process, or someone who is genuinely curious to learn more? By the way, if I want to take this moment to remind you that I release these videos consistently, and I want you to hit that subscribe button if you are finding value here, because I want to continue to help you build a business that matches your impact, okay? And now let's move on to mistake number 2, which is the credential crutch. This mistake is really sneaky because it seems like it should work. When someone asks you about your work, you launch into the credentials. Well, I'm a certified EFT, NLP, and Reiki level 3 practitioner. I trained with some famous teacher, and I've been doing this for 12 years, and I have a master's degree in psychology and additional certifications in blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Stop it. I know why you do this. I know it feels like you are establishing authority, but what's actually happening in their mind is, oh, okay, but how does that impact me? You see, we make a fundamental error. We think people care about our credentials. They don't. Not really. They care about their pain, their dreams, their transformation. Your credentials only matter after they believe that you can help them, not before. This is backwards from what they taught you in school, I know, but think about the last time you hired someone to help you with something important. Did you choose them because of their certifications or because you believed they could solve your problem? Listen, I was paid $1 million for a 1-year one-on-one coaching contract. I have no official certification that qualifies me for that $1 million contract, other than this person knew and believed to such a high level that I would be able to solve their problems. And here's the thing, okay? Leading with credentials is actually it's a compensation mechanism. It's what we do when we don't know how to communicate value. So we default to communicating authority. But authority without relevance is noise. So this is what I want you to do in order to fix this, okay? You start with their world. You start with their pain, their desires, and then, only then, you would weave in some of your credentials that directly relate to solving their specific problem. Here's an example, okay? Instead of, I'm a certified holistic health coach with additional training in functional nutrition and hormonal balancing, try this. You know that afternoon crash where you're exhausted and wired at the same time? I help women fix that. My training in hormonal health showed me exactly why this happens and how to solve it naturally. Do you see the difference? The credentials are still woven in there subtly, but they're in service to the solution, not standing alone just to impress someone. Your expertise actually matters. Your training matters, but only in context of how it helps them. Make sense? All right, so we're going to move on to mistake number 3, which is the jargon mask. And this mistake just breaks my heart because it comes from such a pure place, the desire to be taken seriously. We all have this want to fit in, this want to be taken seriously, this want to feel important, to sound professional. We want to prove that we belong in our industry. And so you adopt the language, the buzzwords, the industry speak. You talk about holding space and doing the work and ancestral healing, raising your vibration, or stepping into your power. And you know what? To other practitioners, that might sound fine. But to the people who actually need your help, the ones who haven't been marinating in the personal development transformation world for the last decade, you might as well be speaking a foreign language. So here's what you need to understand, okay? Jargon isn't professional, it's exclusive. It's a barrier, it's a wall between you and the people who need you most. I call it the jargon mask because that's exactly what it is. It's a mask that you wear to hide your authentic voice because somewhere along the way, you decided that your natural way of speaking wasn't good enough. But here's the truth that changed everything for me, okay? The language that connects isn't the language that impresses, it's the language that expresses. Real connection happens when you speak from your truth, in your voice, using words that actually mean something to the person listening. So I have a quick question for you. I want you to drop a comment below with the piece of industry jargon that you catch yourself using that you know confuses people. I like to read these comments, and I think it's very helpful for us who are all in the same business of helping people transform their lives to see how other people are changing this, how other people are in the same spirals of this jargon mask over and over. So what's the jargon you use? Leave that comment. And now, how do you actually fix the jargon masks? Well, you develop what I call your kitchen table voice. Imagine you're sitting at your kitchen table with your best friend who knows nothing about your industry. They're going through something hard and you want to help your best friend. How would you explain what you do? What words would you use and what stories would you tell? Sitting there with across the kitchen table, watching them struggle. That is your real voice. That is the voice that connects. And I'll give you an example here, okay? Instead of, I facilitate transformational experiences that allow you to access higher states of consciousness, which sounds cool. You think you should put that on a landing page or something. You can say, I guide people through experiences that completely change how they see themselves and their life. Instead of saying, I help you embody your divine feminine essence, you can say, I help women reconnect with their intuition and natural gifts. Instead of, we'll work on integrating your shadow aspects, say, we'll look at the parts of yourself you've been hiding and learn how to embrace them. It's the same concepts. It's just a different language. One creates distance and the other creates connection. So let's bring this all home, land the plane, okay? 3 mistakes: over-explaining, leading with credentials, and hiding behind jargon. They are not personality defects. They're not signs that you are bad at business. They are simply habits, and habits can be changed. I've watched hundreds, maybe even thousands of practitioners make these small shifts, and suddenly the world can see what was always there. Their brilliance, their gift, their unique medicine, and that makes them capable of now making even bigger impact. And the relief on their faces when they realize it was never about not being good enough, it was just about translation. It was just a skill they needed to learn. You already have everything you need. You have the wisdom, the expertise, the transformation that you offer is all there. We're just adjusting the frequency so others can receive it. Start with one mistake. Pick the one of these 3 that hit you the hardest while you were watching or listening to this and practice that solution for a week. Just one. Start with one and watch what changes. Watch how people respond differently. Watch how much easier everything becomes when you stop making yourself invisible. And if you want to go deeper into this work, if you're ready to completely transform how you communicate your value, I built something for you. It's called the Speak Like It Matters bundle, and it includes 2 of my trainings put together. Make Your Message Matter, which teaches you how to understand your audience at a deep cellular level and craft language that lands every single time. And then Stand Out Speaker, which is a 7-day boot camp that shows you how to deliver your message in a more powerful way that people will actually remember. Both of those trainings are linked in the description below. But honestly, even if you just take what you learned today and apply it, you will see changes. Because here's the truth that I want you to walk away from this video with. Your work matters. Your voice matters. And the world needs what you have to offer. We just need to make sure that they can actually hear you. So if this video opened up something for you, I have more just like this. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and share this with a friend. It's the perfect step after fixing these messaging mistakes is to help this ripple of impact spread. I appreciate you so much. I want to remind you that always, in all ways, you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved.